Not even gonna hold y'all. While I am happy that Trisha did get the help, the start of the help that she needed, do it on your own time. What's good, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Tammy. This is Tammy Talks. Love and Marriage Huntsville is back. Season 10, episode 9. Can we fix it? Uh, Way too Trisha and Ken heavy for me. But let's still talk about it. Before we get started, if you guys are brand new to the channel, please do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, thumbs up the video, hype the video, and then leave your comments down below. All right. So let's go ahead and get started with Trisha. So the first scene is her training her son Xavier. It was a cute little scene. Not even gonna hold you. So she's, helping him lift the weights, and he's telling her that he wants to work on this. And she was like, "You're shaped like a Dorito." I said, "Baby, a triangle. If you use food references, that's fine, but a triangle." It was a cute little scene. So then it takes a turn, and she's like, "So how are you doing? Are you doing okay?" He was like, "Yeah, I'm good." She was like, "Okay, I like to say I'm okay as well, but I'm really not. So like, how are you doing?" Xavier said, "Well, it's been a lot, a lot." He said, "I've been trying to just distance myself more, right? I don't want to let my thoughts go into the deep end. Like, I don't want to get depressed. It's a lot with the fighting between you and dad and you and Ken. It's a lot." And what I got from that is Trisha is the common denominator, which I've been saying for a while, but Trisha's the common denominator. If Trisha's not fighting with Marquez, she's fighting with Ken in the house, right? And for Xavier to have to be the adult in the house at 18, that's unfortunate for him. You know what I mean? So Xavier is like, Ken is cool and I appreciate him, but I don't like to see people that I care about say hateful things about each other. I don't like all the fighting. There is some stuff y'all shouldn't be saying. And the whole time Trisha is like, yeah. And I think the thing is, Trisha, you're sitting there looking stupid because your son has more emotional intelligence than you, Marquez, and Ken all put together. The fact that your child has to tell you this is crazy. This is crazy. And all I could remember, right, is when Marquez was saying, "Y'all are hurting the kids, y'all are hurting the kids." Ken and Trisha were both like, "They fine, the kids are good. They don't care about this. This is fine." No matter how long of a break LAMH takes, this has really only been what, 3 weeks later than that scene. Maybe a month if we're pushing it. So y'all were doing all of this hooping and hollering about how the kids are not affected and the kids are okay when Xavier is telling you that you're arguing and you're fighting and the hateful things that you're saying about his father and his father is saying about you, all of that, he is doing his best to not get depressed from it. I know that Trisha and Ken like to sit up on the Instagram and be keyboard warriors. Whenever Marquez says something, do y'all have a rebuttal to this in real time? No? Okay. Trisha agrees that Xavier is correct. And in her confessional, she almost seems shocked that their kids would be affected by this. Why are you shocked that one, your children are now thrust into the public eye with this reality show, but two, that every time them cameras come in the house, y'all are fighting? Like, I don't. So we pan over to Nell, okay? So Nell is dusting the chandelier, and Fletcher comes in and he's telling her, "Oh my God, you up there?" Yeah, she's dusting. You acting like she on a fucking ladder. She's sitting on a chair. But Nell was like, "Hire my housekeeper back. He doesn't want to, whatever." So Nell is telling Fletcher um that Destiny now wants to date Twan. And Nell has a problem with it, but Lance does not. So Nell feels that maybe Lance has guilt. Is that the right word? And Fletcher was like, I don't think it's guilt. I think it's destiny is taking a page out of Martell's book and just being petty. I personally think it is too. There are so many men in Huntsville. Why do you want to date that particular one? Right? It's given Destiny just wants a storyline. So Nell is upset that Tisha told Destiny that she knew that Lance had a baby on the way. Now, remember that whole situation where Lance and little Chris had babies, I guess, within months of each other? Is that right? And at the end of the day, I'm with Nell. Whether I leave LA or not is nobody's business. If I knew that my son had a baby on the way, I don't have to tell anybody. I don't have to tell anybody. So Nell now does not know who she is okay with in the group. Nell, you don't fit in the group. I don't know. Nell doesn't fit the show to me. And I don't know if it has to do with age, because y'all say that her and Kimmy are around the same age. But Nell brings just, I don't know. I don't know. To me, she does not fit the group whatsoever. So Destiny's meeting up with Twan, and she said that this is a business lunch because he did a very good job of guarding her body before. And with her having so many new things coming up, she needs a bodyguard in the future. Why? Why does Destiny need a bodyguard? Like, if somebody can please explain that to me down below in the comments, why does Destiny need a bodyguard? But she's talking to Twan and she brings up the whole googly eyes thing. Twan said, I don't know what googly eyes means. And he crosses his eyes. Don't do that again. Then he was like, maybe it's because I was smiling at you because you're beautiful. And all Destiny is seeing, hearing, and seeing is, yes. And I don't think Twan is seeing that back, right? So he said he does not remember her making googly eyes at him, but he could be wrong. Destiny said, well, Trish said that you were asking about me. Twan doesn't remember. Now we know that Trisha got a little lying problem, right? So could be that Trisha is lying, or is that Twan is just really not that into you after who knows, after seeing something about you, right? Destiny said that I talked to Lance, and Lance gave me his blessing. Twan then said, did you talk to my mama, aka Nell? And I'm like, look, I have godparents as well. I don't call them mama, okay? But let's just play it up for the cameras, I guess. So Twan is like, did you talk to mama? Destiny was like, I did. And, she felt away. She had a lot to say about this. Twan said, yeah, because Nell was asking him if they had sex. She was pressing me. Destiny feels that Nell is doing too much and needs to mind her business. And I agree. I agree. Find some business now. So Destiny said that, she still plans on dating multiple people. And if she is dating, that means that, we're dating, we're hanging out, we're getting to know each other. That does not always, equate to having sex. Twan said he doesn't have a problem with that. Doesn't bother him at all. Destiny said that she wants someone to accept her for who she is. And she's a lot of different people. You can tell that turned Twan off a little bit. Truth be told, you can tell that turned him off a little bit. I think he played it off very cool, but he immediately was like, yeah, we can build a friendship. I said, yeah, because you done made yourself sound crazier than you have looked on TV. So Twan was like, who would have known that I would be sitting here right now talking to Destiny Patton the way I screamed because her last name is Peyton? I was pointless scene. Pointless scene, right? But I guess. So we pan back over to Trisha and Ken, and Trisha wants them to talk so they can get some clarity, right? And I thought that this was the perfect conversation that I hope that Trisha and Ken are both watching back because he was getting agitated and she was being defensive. So they agree that the last few days have been very stressful. He does not think, Ken, that any true effort has been put into making proper changes in their relationship, and from what we can see, there has not been. He feels that they have an issue and it lingers and lingers and lingers, and by the time we know, it's been like 2 or 3 months later. And he doesn't feel like he has control over that, and he does not like when he has control over his life. So she asks him, Trisha's asking Ken if he even wants to be there. He was like, truth be told, I wanted to leave, but I know that there need to be some changes, okay? Ken feels that it's always about Trisha's feelings and the kids' feelings, and it's never about his feelings. And if we're going to keep it 1,000%, he's right about that. But I also feel like, Ken, you have chosen to put yourself into this situation. You chose to get involved with a woman who you knew was emotionally unavailable from RIP. You knew that she was estranged, not even legally separated from her husband. You knew that this woman was putting off filing the papers to get a divorce. You chose to stay. You chose to buy a house with this woman and you chose to start raising her kids. This is a choice. These are not new feelings. These are not new things that we're seeing. These are things that now that the camera is put in front of y'all and the world is seeing and the world has more of an opinion on it, now you kind of feel a way about it. He then goes on to say that when he is frustrated, mad, or angry, that he still puts out the same type of love to the family that they deserve. And he said that when Trisha is feeling that way, they don't eat, she don't cook dinner, and sometimes she doesn't even talk. Trisha gets offended and said, yeah, but that ain't got nothing to do with you. It's just me being quiet and in the zone. And I kind of feel like we know that Trisha lacks emotional intelligence and maturity, right? But I just feel like as an adult, you have to know that if you are cohabitating with somebody, you're in a relationship with somebody, a romantic sexual relationship with somebody, that you cannot just go the entire day and not talk to that person and be in the zone and then wonder why that person feels a way about the way that you're moving. That's just kind of common sense, right? So Trisha is like, you take that as me having an attitude when I don't. What is he supposed to think though if you're not talking to him, Trisha? That's the thing. That's what I don't understand about her. She acts so shocked when her actions and what she's doing has an effect on people. That's crazy to me. It's asinine, to be real. So Ken was like, no, 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 no. I'm talking about the actual anger. Trisha said, well, that's when the energy in the house changes, and that's on y'all. Kim was like, no, it's because of you. Trisha's like, no, you take my, and I'm like, look. Y'all are going nowhere. Y'all are going nowhere. Ken goes on to say that he and the kids or the family, whoever, does not deserve to be mistreated because she is having negative thoughts and a bad day. And that's 1000% true. Instead of Trisha being like, am I doing that? I'm so sorry. I don't mean to. She's getting defensive and she's starting to elevate her voice a little bit. Ken said in his confessional that if Trisha does not get the proper help she needs, it's not going to work for them. And I kind of feel like you should have probably been put that stipulation on her. So Trisha's like, okay, so where do we start? Cancer therapy, go see the lady, go lay on the couch, go get your ass on a drip or something. He said that he has been patient, but she's going to have to take the lead, and he is not going to go another 6 months with this type of behavior and living like this. And Ken ain't going nowhere. One, he wants to stay on the show. And two, I think that Ken likes to play Captain Save-A-Ho. Ken is not going to go anywhere. Ken is not going to leave Trisha. They are a breakup to make up type of couple. And then that's it. Even though, is she even legally divorced from Marquez yet? Has that been filed? So I guess, Ken. I guess. If you like it, I love it, my brother. So we get to Nell. She's at work. Fletcher comes in, and Lance is there to help paint. I thought Lance had a landscaping business. Maybe he does interior stuff too, but Lance's company is there to paint the daycare. Nell is saying she don't want to go in the hallway and talk to him about it because I don't remember if she gave a reason, but Nell feels that because she is getting a discount, that he doesn't prioritize her work. Baby, it's a daycare. He can't paint when the kids are there. I would think he would have to do it like over the weekend, right? For, you don't want the babies breathing in the fumes. But she goes out there and she's telling him what she wants done and whatever the case. And Martell comes in and will say, I saw y'all cars and came on in. What? So Fletcher is like, of course, with how you and Marceau have been acting, that you're going to stop by the daycare. I said, I know that's right. Yes. So Martell said, look, I took your advice. I met with Marceau and I was able to outtalk him. He was sitting there trying to look cute with a cigar, but we came to an agreement where we are not going to talk negatively about each other or each other's spouses. I think that it's interesting that y'all had to come to that agreement. So Fletcher was like, well, what about Tisha and Ariane? Have they talked? And Martell was like, no, that's different. I mean, that's on them. But if if something does arise, then me and Marceau can kind of jump in and kind of diffuse. All this is telling me is that we're building up to Ariane being on the show at some point, and we'll see what happens with that. So we get to Tisha. So no, excuse me, Trisha. Trisha meets up with Dr. Francis, okay? And he looks stressed. He always looks stressed and overly emotional. But I think from what we have seen, I think he's a good therapist. So he talks to her about how life has been. And she's like, life has been downhill since her parents and her sister, right? Her sister passed away. She has 5 siblings, and she is kind of somewhat of the leader. While she's talking about all of this, she's getting emotional, she's crying, and we finally see some emotion from her, which is good because for a while she was just like an angry robot. You know what I mean? Which is an oxymoron, but that's what she was given. It's like she had two modes about herself. Either you're angry or she's just stoic. So now we're seeing some emotion from her and she's opening up. And while this is a good scene, I low key feel like this is something that she should have done privately because Trisha does need help, right? She went through the death of her parents and her sister, and then her husband just running out on her while she was raising 2 kids. Yeah, she needs therapy, right? So she was acknowledging how the family kind of felt lost when her father passed away, and her father was one of her best friends. He was a drill sergeant, and she wants to be just like him. She then acknowledges that her anger does come from her dad as well. So she starts talking about how she deals with her anger and all that type of stuff by going to the gym. And Dr. Francis is like, okay, and when you leave the gym, is the anger, the exhaustion, do you leave it at the gym or do you bring it home with you? And she says she brings it home with her. She feels that she is just an angry soul. And Dr. Francis pointed out there's a difference between an angry person and an angry soul. Right? Do I think that Trisha is an angry soul? I don't. I think that Trisha is a person that is hurt, that has felt as if the people that were supposed to love her the most, that were supposed to be there for her, have abandoned her because he gives her the example of at the gym, if you're lifting and having a spotter to kind of help you through life, and she's like, I had a spotter, it was Marquez, and he ran out on me when she needed him the most. I don't think she's an angry soul. I think she's a hurt person, right? That has never dealt with her hurt, that has never dealt with her grief from her parents passing away, from her sister passing away. She never got the chance to mourn the dissolution of her marriage, right? Because weren't they high school sweethearts? So she had a lot happen to her in a short amount of time. And one of the worst things that Trisha could have done and that she did do was jump into that relationship with Ken because she wasn't healed. And I feel like Ken knew that she was not healed and he still did it. Not blaming him, but like, Ken, you knew that she wasn't healed. And instead of you just remaining a friend to her, y'all turned it into a romantic partnership. And that's why now that Marquez has popped back into the picture, all these different feelings that Trisha has probably been trying to push out are still there because she still loves Marquez. And we can tell, we know, we can see how she behaves around him. It's clear in the way that she didn't want to file for the divorce. You know what I mean? So, uh, Dr. Francis tells her to get in touch with her strengths and her weaknesses because that is what makes you a better person. That's what makes you a whole, complete person. She does not like to get close to people because she doesn't want to lose them. And she said that it is harder for her now to open up to Ken because she's lost her trust in people. And while this was, like I said, a good session with Dr. Francis, I do think that Trisha needs to get some help outside of the show, off camera, really do the work. And that might even mean her and Ken separating, right? If you love somebody, let them go. If they were meant to be, they'll come back to you. That's the approach that they need to take. Because if Xavier at 18 is feeling this way, imagine how their daughter feels and she's younger and she doesn't fully understand everything that's going on. But that was Love and Marriage Huntsville. Next week, I guess Kimmy and Nell gonna get into it. She gonna throw her in the pool. I said, what in the Ray J and Prinky is going on there? But let me know what you guys thought about this episode. Subscribe to the channel, thumbs up the video, hype the video, and I will catch y'all in the next one. Bye.